And I have something very important that I want to tell you. You are the one. Each of you are the one. The reason you're here, the unique expression of the divine life force, God, love, whatever your term is for that unfathomable thing that we know is there and is expressing through us in every moment, in everything that we are, our pains, our sorrows, our joys, our creations, our mistakes. You are the one. There's a quote that I would like to start with, and I may end with it as well, and since we had a power failure, I was not able to print anything at Valerie's this morning. But through the miracle of our little devices here, I have my quote. It's often attributed to Nelson Mandela. He was quoting Marianne Williamson, who is the woman who did so much work around the Course in Miracles. And I believe she's also an ordained unity minister. Yes. And I'm going to have to pull this very close because it's very small on the screen. But Marianne quotes, and Nelson Mandela also quoted her, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God within us. It's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." How often do we, I know I do, and I still do, stifle certain parts of myself? Don't speak my truth. Don't stand up and say, this is what I believe, or this is what I see, or this is what I feel, because we're afraid somebody else might not like it. Or somebody else may close off to us, or somebody may say, who the heck do you think you are? Or, why don't you get off your high horse? Something I heard when I was little. Or even just simply, as my mom often said, simmer down. We have a joyful, spontaneous exuberance within us. We've called it, over the past few decades, the inner child. Which I love the concept, but it also has a tendency to push that authentic, very present part of ourselves away as though it's something separate. It's who we are. We put on a cloak or a coat or a business suit or this outer affect to try to fit into society. We decide we are the job that we do, or we are the clothes that we wear, or we are the people we hang around with, taking that on as an identity rather than going to that inner authenticity, that child, that joy, that is constantly in a state of innocence. And what is innocence? In a sense, it's not knowing. It's being present in the sense, the experience, the feeling of life. Innocence, in a sense, in the present. If you watch a child, they're in the moment. They're filled with wonder. They're totally connected to their emotions. They can be sobbing with the deepest grief one moment, and then laughing with exuberant joy the next. They don't hold on to this. They don't allow emotion to become a mood, which we have a tendency to do. When emotion comes up, we don't really want to feel it, we resist it, it's there, and then it becomes a mood, oh, I'm just in a mood. And then it becomes a personality. Oh, they're kind of an angry person. Oh, there's a sullen person. That's a blocking down of the natural flow of life force. Basically because we want to fit in. We don't want to be judged. We don't want people to be mad at us. And a lot of us had to do that to fit into our family system. And I'm not blaming our families. Our families all did the best with what they had. But we come into a family system where there's certain rules, there's certain ways that we do things, there's certain emotions that have not been acceptable, there's certain pains and traumas that our parents and their parents had been through that caused them to shut certain parts of them down. And what we do here on Sunday, and what the Unity movement has been all about, and truthfully what I feel all spiritual practices and traditions are ultimately about, is about doing the work to get back to that authentic self, that connection with that divine spirit that is present in the moment and says, whatever's out there, in a sense, is the past. We are, in this moment, the present and the future. We are the eyes and ears and voice of that divine creative spirit. And so to come at life as the innocent child, with a sense of freshness, of newness, and as we did in our meditation this morning, taking time each day to feel and develop and nurture and honor and experience our relationship to self. Because it's through our relationship to self that we open and feel and experience the divine, that spirit. So let's take a moment right now for those of us who weren't here for the meditation and those of us who were, just to take a deep breath and connect with the self, whatever that means to you. Let's do it with our eyes open, noticing that we can. So often our prayer work or our meditation work is done alone in silence. We close our eyes and go within. And then we open our eyes and we go back into this separate outside world. And what we learn from our unity teachings is that there's no separation. When I say you are the one, it can be partly that quote saying you are the one who lives your individual life. You are the one who expresses spirit in your individual, unique way. But it also means you are the one. You are part of that one energy that is the God force, that is everything. So that divine cosmic one is the big picture, is all that is. That one of my favorite terms for God. I love that. All that is, which just means everything. So we are the one individual expression and spark in these individual bodies that I look around and everybody looks different. I would not mistake you for you. We all, even our faces, our voices, everything about us is unique. And yet there's an energy, a divine vibration that connects us all, that is similar. So it's recognizing that within our uniqueness, there is the unity, the oneness. So you are the one individual, and you are the one gigantic, energetic force. And the magic, the miracle, comes from the truth. This is my truth that I believe. And remember, whatever I share up here is my truth. It is not the truth. Part of this unity movement is trusting that we all have our own unique truths within that one. I mean, that's why they say, you know, trying to make things happen in a unity church is like trying to herd cats. Because cats, they all have a mind of their own. And yet, we see from certainly the lions and certain cats that do run in prides, I love that term too, prides, they have a way of working together. I've been involved in a number of unity churches, and it's the same thing. You sometimes wonder how we get anything done, but yet we manage to. We get things done, work together in community as we acknowledge, nurture, and support each other's individuality. So how do we do that? And allow our unique expression to shine? How do we follow what Marianne Williamson said, to not hide ourselves under a bushel, to be that fabulous out there person? How do we do that in a family when there's a number of strong personalities, a number of people who have different things that they want? Partly, for me, it's being willing to allow someone to send what I feel like negative energy my way, to not be happy with what I'm doing, and to be able to not react to their unhappiness by attacking back on them, to allow them, okay, I get it. They're upset because I'm not doing what they want me to do in this situation. Maybe I was doing it a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, or a month ago. But guess what? I'm part of the God force, which is constantly changing and growing, and I'm not that person anymore. If I can give myself the permission to change and grow, it makes it much easier to stand in my truth when I'm getting resistance from those around me. And what's my choice? I can say, okay, I'm getting resistance from those around me, so I'm going to go back and pretend I'm that person I was 2 weeks ago, just so that person isn't upset. Number one, how long is that going to last before I get an ulcer or something else happens or I blow up on that person? And number two, is that the best thing for that other person? No. What she says here is by speaking our truth, standing in our authentic self, making our way even into the unknown when it's uncomfortable. And the truth is, when you're changing, when you're in the process of change, guess what? It's not always pretty. We make mistakes. You know, life is messy. Watch a kid playing. Watch an infant. They're messy. You know, they're spewing vomit. They're pooping in their pants. They're knocking things over. They are messy, but they're alive. They're in it. We grow up, and part of the adult coat we put on is, oh, well, I'm not messy anymore. I do everything right. I don't make mistakes. You know, bull, whatever. And being willing to step out into the unknown and make mistakes and be messy and have it be okay, it does liberate those around you. Even if their first reaction is, honey, you better be what I want you to be, or, you know, and it may even not be honey. It's something else they say. And what the tendency to do, what we're trained to do, is to jump back and fight back and get into the drama, where we've got to prove that we're right to somebody else. We don't have to prove anything to anybody else. What we need to do is come into a self-acceptance that it's okay for me to be who I am, and it's okay for other people around us to be upset if I'm not showing up as they expect me to be, or as I showed up 2 weeks ago. Change is wonderful. Change is the truth of who we are. Change is the world. We are in a constant state of growth and expansion. So yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is an unknown. The gift is now. And that's why they call it the present. And the gift that I'm inviting you to look at this week is the self. Who are you now? What is Spirit urging you towards that is more than you were yesterday? That gets your blood tingling? That makes the other people around you uncomfortable because it's not who you were? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's one thing to be safe and everything's comfortable and everything's nice, but the truth is, we are part of this energetic movement. You know, there's earthquakes, there's tsunamis, there's storms, there's the birth process itself. I mean, I'm not a mother and I have not given birth, but those of you who are out there who have know that it ain't pretty to give birth, to bring a new life into the world. So whenever you're going through a change or a rebirth, there's pains, there's growing pains, there's struggle, there's sweat, blood, and tears. And we can either resist them or encourage them. Another one of my favorite teachings is that resistance is what causes so much of the pain that we feel, or keeps it stuck in place. You're going to feel pain, you're going to have struggles, but if you can just accept it and say yes to it, suddenly you move through it. It's not a straitjacket. It's our resistance to feeling pain that keeps us stuck in so many things. And the dis-ease, the number one dis-ease on the planet, which this is once again my truth, my opinion, is codependency. And codependency basically is, I'm not going to be who I am because it might make you unhappy. I think it's that simple. You know, we get into someone else's head, and this is really, in a sense, what we're trained to do in families. We want to figure out what's going to work for everybody else so we can figure out who we are, and then within that, we try to manipulate whatever to get what we want without ever really standing up and saying, hey, this is what I want. And so when we can learn to stand in our truth and speak our truth without blame or shame for the other person, because they may not be happy and they may react, towards us, except, okay, they're upset. It's not my fault. They're upset because they're not getting what they want. But I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, which is stand in my truth and listen to my inner guidance. By having the courage to do that, we truly do give the other people in our lives not only permission to do the same, we become the example of how to do it. And there's a lag time, just like it's a lag time for everyone, a learning curve. So they may be angry for a while. They may, guess what, even leave us. They may say, hey, this doesn't work for me, I need to go somewhere else. If that's what needs to happen, that's the gift. And I know for a lot of us, me included, it's like, oh my God, how can I let go of that person? If I'm with that person because I'm afraid to be alone, then is that relationship encouraging me to be all that I am, or is it something that's holding me down? And I have found again and again and again, when I'm willing to step into my truth, when I'm willing to stand in my own power, which is never power over somebody else. That's manipulation, the power over somebody else. It's always allow the other person to grow and become more of who they are. Sometimes the growth is apart. Very often, it's a growth finding a new place of coming together in more authenticity, more strength, more freedom. And I think that's what we're looking for. It's not freedom from someone else. It's freedom to be who I am with others, with the rest of the world. So I want to invite you this week to baby steps. Look at where you're stifling certain parts of yourself. Listen to that relationship to the self. Take some time alone to walk and talk and be with yourself. Because sometimes that is the first and most powerful step, because we get so involved in being there for everyone else that in truth we think it's because we just want to be nice and we want to be there for everyone else because that's our identity. But in reality, it's because we're afraid to be with ourselves and feel what's underneath. Sometimes it's a sadness we haven't been willing to be with and feel. Sometimes it's an anger. because we have been stifling a certain part of ourselves that wants to come forward. Sometimes it's an inner voice that is about to give us an inspiration or a guidance into some new area of exploration or creativity or job or way of life. That we filled up our life with too many other things that we haven't allowed ourselves to do that. You are the one. You are a gift. The fact that you're here, present in this body, is the proof that your life has meaning. And the only one that can tell you what that meaning is you. And I have a belief, after many years of being in the spiritual study, that not even God knows what my purpose is or what my path is. That's what I believe free will is. God created us in His image and gave us free will, which means that we have His divine spark of creativity, of imagination, that we decide for Him so that He can have the experience through us. He, she, it, whatever, it's beyond gender. And that concept for me is so liberating, and it puts me in an authentic, balanced, one-on-one relationship with God, because it's not some preordained thing that I've got to figure out what His plan for me is. It's a thing that we're deciding together. What's next? He's kind of saying, you decide and I will give you the tools to do it. That's what Jesus was saying when He said, ask and ye shall receive. He wasn't just saying, ye shall receive. He is giving us the power. We're the ones who ask. We're the ones who decide what we want. And in each moment we can change our mind. That's the other thing that can keep us stuck. Right? We think each decision has to be the final thing of our life. No. This is what feels right now. And I changed my mind. Any of us who has been in a long-term one-on-one relationship knows that there's mind changing going on all the time. Oh, I'm out the door. Oh, no, this is the person forever. Truth is, it's somewhere in between. Yes. It's a balance. And that's a good thing because it keeps us present in the moment, listening to that primary relationship, which is to the self and to that divine spark, that divine spirit. And when we remember that that divine spirit is the spirit that connects us all, it brings us into harmony with not only everyone in our own immediate life, but everyone in the world. And it helps us to let go of the codependency. We don't need to figure it out. We just need to figure out what I want and what's right for me in this moment. Spirit is helping to balance everything else. And it also gives us the gift of being able to release the others in our life into their truth. It's not up to us to be in their head and figure out what they want. What a waste of time. So, thank you for listening. Relationship with yourself this week. Spend some time listening, being with that. And right now we're going to just do a little bit of a divine meditation as we get ready to move to our offering. Divine Spirit that connects us all, that we feel through the very breath we breathe. We know and honor that these bills and checks and pieces of paper are the symbol of the energy that flows through everything. We take it in with gratitude and love and see this beautiful sanctuary blossoming with a new paint job, finishing with the windows. We see a new kitchen in the other room. We see us sending our energy out into the community, sharing our message, which is truth and light and goodness. And with a sense of divine gratitude and thanksgiving, we say, thank you for this life, thank you for this day, thank you for our community, our families, thank you for ourselves. Amen.